I'm so glad you're here for my continuing series on the church. Who are we really, and what are we supposed to be doing? We pick up our story today with the Judahites in exile in Babylon, but they are embracing the tradition of their people, the traditions of the mysterious God who called them, who led them out of slavery, brought them to a land, made a covenant with them, gave commandments. The Judahites have embraced their tradition. They've embraced the literature that arose that keeps hold of the tradition to pass on generation after generation. They've begun the practice of daily prayer. And in Babylon, the Judahites come to have faith in the mysterious God of Israel with a new zeal, with a new devotion. In the year 550 before the Common Era, in the year 550, Cyrus the Persian took over what had been the Babylonian Empire. Now the Persians were in power, and Cyrus had a new policy. Cyrus allowed the exiles to return to their homeland if they wanted to. And so a group of hardy exiles of Judah returned to the land of Judah and to Jerusalem. They began to rebuild the city, and they began to rebuild the temple. And among many people who went back, there was a great expectation, and people were thinking, remember the ancient promise to Abraham from the mysterious Lord. By you, all the nations will be blessed. Is this the fulfillment now? Is the fulfillment happening among us and upon us? But there were also challenges, and there was hardship in coming back to this land which had been devastated and vacated. After a short time of independence, Alexander, who is called Great, came through, and in the year 332 before the Common Era, Alexander subjected the whole region to Greek rule. There was ongoing discontent among the peoples of Judah, not only arguments between believers in the God of Israel, but there was discontent and dissent. There was objection to this Greek rule. The people struggled to find the best way to be faithful to the covenant God, the liberating covenant God, in this circumstance where they are under a foreign rule which is really beginning to expect them to adopt their ways. There's a strong push from the leaders after Alexander's death for the people, including the Judahites, to adopt Greek dress, Greek language, Greek practices, and Greek religion. Among Judahites, there was a great deal of disagreement about the best way to be faithful to the one God and about how far it was permissible to go to be Greek. Some Judahites were willing to go quite far to look and speak and act outwardly in every way as if they were Greeks, though still having faith in the one God and praying. And there were other Judahites who believed you could not give an inch. It wasn't enough not to worship the Greek gods. One also had to refuse to wear Greek dress, and maybe even in extreme cases to refuse the Greek language. Much of the disagreement between Judahites was focused around the interpretation and understanding of Judah's traditions in the ancient writings, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and so on. And Judah's life came to be, in the most fundamental way, informed and formed by these writings, by reference to these writings, and by discussion and interpretation of these writings. The very life of the people in relation to God was grounded and rooted in these writings, in their interpretation and in their understanding. Thanks for being with me once again.